right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting order and ask to start with Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this morning I can ask for approval of this morning's agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion. Next, I can ask for consideration of approval of the September 29th and October 6th meeting minutes as per.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, I can ask for approval of the claims for payment dated October 13th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Marion, you have the floor.
First, if you can hear me with the mask on, because if you can't, I could take it off.
I can
think
hear
we're
you.
good.
Okay, so my name is Marion Cooper. I'm a Hardin County landowner. At this time, my land is not in the path of the proposed CO2 pipeline. It's about a mile away, but I'm quite concerned about this. And some of my neighbors are alarmed about it. And that's true of people across the state of Iowa, not just here. So for the purposes of this meeting, though, I'm going to confine myself to just one of many concerns. And that is the emergency preparedness of Hardin County to deal with the potential deadly dangers posed by liquid CO2 escaping from a pipeline under enormous pressure. We're talking about as much as 2,200 pounds per square inch of pressure. We're talking about an asphyxiant that suddenly is released from that much pressure, which means it immediately becomes a cold, gaseous, powdery cloud of CO2 gas that hugs the ground and displaces oxygen. We're talking about suffocating people and animals in a matter of minutes, depending on where this cloud travels before it warms up enough to rise and dissipate. I attached the Huffington Post news story entitled "The Gassing of Cetartia" to my proposal to speak today because I wanted all of you to know just how dangerous a CO2 pipeline rupture could be. And now, a Summit spokesperson told this board on September 8th that this industry had a 20-year record of safety, and he said, safety is our #1 priority. He made no mention of the Cetartia, Mississippi disaster, which had only occurred earlier in Mississippi. Now, it's true that the Federal Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration has not issued its full report on that disaster, possibly because there's ongoing litigation. But dozens of people were hospitalized. 300 had to be evacuated from that area. First responders and hospital staff didn't even know what they were dealing with. They assumed it was maybe a natural gas situation. That's very different. People are still suffering the after effects all these months later. You can read about it in the article. At the public informational meeting about the pipeline on September 13th, Summit executives were asked about the Cetartia disaster. So I sat there, I heard them say that that couldn't happen here because that incident involved the presence of hydrogen sulfide in addition to CO2, as if the CO2 gas was somehow completely benign. They said, there'd be no hydrogen sulfide in the pipe up here, they said. To me, that was an insult to our collective intelligence. And Summit executives, it's just bizarre. bizarre. They continue to say this. They said it again last night in the virtual meeting. So just wanted to make sure that you guys had one more bit of information. That is this article, which was written. Sure. This is from the Jackson, Mississippi Clarion Ledger, written 5 days after the Satartia incident, describing what those reporters saw. And also it has information in there about the fact that the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality came in as soon as they could get there to test the air. They didn't find any hydrogen sulfide. They found CO2, but no hydrogen sulfide. So look, it's liquefied CO2 escaping from enormous pressure. That's the problem here. It's oxygen displacement. It's the potential for suffocation. At Satartia, and I just went into this about the Mississippi Environmental Quality Department that went into the town, what they found was CO2. So as I say, the health dangers of CO2 are only one aspect of this project that I think makes it wrong. But I wrote to the county's emergency management coordinator, Mr. Creighton, and got a great email back from him. He invited me to come to his office and discuss it. He indicated that he can't necessarily offer up detail in public about the state of the county's emergency preparedness for this kind of incident because, and yeah, I agree with him. Some stuff is better kept under wraps. I assume he was talking about things like, keeping information out of the hands of terrorists or cyber ransom people, that sort of thing. And that's just fine. I can appreciate that. So I thank Mr. Creighton and want him to know that I will soon respond to his invitation. But still, the citizens of Hardin County, I think, have every reason to be concerned about the county's ability to protect them in the event of a disaster of this nature. And our supervisors have a duty, I think, to keep us safe. So I'm interested to hear what the board has to say about that.
So I appreciate the dialogue.
Sure.
And we were both at the meeting, at the informational meeting, and I haven't been able to attend a virtual. I know the first one, a lot of times there's a little bit of impromptu. And so I'm planning on attending tonight's pipeline meeting
Okay.
to see what, if anything has changed, any other responses are different. But, I agree with Mr. Creighton's response to you that we will work with them in our ESF plan. Dave, as our chair of our Emergency Management Commission, will work with the entire county. We see, just like yesterday's response in Union to a criminal event, numerous agencies are involved, and that interoperability between agencies has to take place. So my thoughts are that this is going to be a lot like the wind turbines. When the wind turbines showed up in the county and neighboring areas, Next Era Energy, the Mid-Americans, the Siemens came in and said, hey, do you guys know anything about high angle rescue? Well, absolutely not. We've got, a 4-story building in town. That's our tallest building. Okay, we're going to come in and train you. We're going to provide some equipment. We're going to do annual refreshers, things like that. And so I know that as a board member of the Northeast Iowa Response Group and as the treasurer, we do annual hazmat training here in the county. What we do here in Hardin County is different than what goes on in Powashik County as a member, because we have an ethanol plant, they don't. We have some other hazardous material vulnerabilities that somebody in Bremer County doesn't have. So those are all provided on an annual basis, and we keep checking those needs assessments. So it's something that Chief Raskin Radcliffe does, Chief Clemens in Eldora does, Chief Eichmeyer in the Ackley does. If there's new hazard vulnerabilities, we go to them and ask for additional training on specialized things. So my belief and trust is that we will get trained on new items as they come along. So that's where I think the board stands right now, is we have to trust that our elected officials, from every mayor and elected official in the county, as well as the sheriff and Renee and Chief Hardin from Iowa Falls that serve on the Emergency Management Commission, are doing their due diligence to assure that proper training and education takes place when new hazards arise.
I would only add that in addition to new training, you may need to purchase new equipment.
Right.
Yeah.
And part of that I know that local fire departments, when the wind turbines became a new thing, Siemens and the different turbine companies actually purchased equipment that would be compatible to their equipment, so that the locals were utilizing the same thing as the day-to-day tower workers were in those events. And I know that in trench rescue, we want to work with the same type of equipment that our excavation companies are using. So I agree that the equipment and using that shall provide our first responders, it is imperative. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Marion.
You bet.
Marion, you said you had numerous questions.
I do. I'm not prepared to discuss them today. I'll probably continue to dig into this. And a lot of my questions actually should go to Summit rather than you guys.
Okay.
So I'm in the process of doing that. Technology sometimes trips me up. Masks trip me up, that sort of thing, but I'm working on it. And as I find things that I think I should bring to your attention, or others should, I'll see that happens.
Yeah. Okay. And trust me, trust Dave. Thomas Creighton, our emergency management coordinator, he has, over 30 years of experience in fire, EMS, hazardous materials. He's a respiratory therapist by trade. So the holistic approach you're getting, what I would say is one of the best emergency management coordinators in the state to engage with. And that should help you sleep better at night. It helps me sleep better at night knowing the capabilities we do have. So, and Donna had a question, where will the training come from? It'll come from the Hazardous Materials Training Center that we contract with through Waterloo Fire. Any new hazards we send, we've got a group of hazardous materials technicians that are Waterloo firefighters, that they're on an ABC shift schedule. There's enough of them trained on each shift to be able to put the hazmat team together for responses. So, and they attend trainings all over the country and keep up continuing education so their response capabilities can meet the new demands of society.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Utility permits and secondary roads. I've got one utility permit, UT 21-015. It's a permit from Interstate Power and Light, installing new underground electric and removing existing overhead facilities along G Avenue.
Make a motion to approve utility permit UT 21-015.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This was in concerns with Bridge 05106 weight restrictions, so that's why they're doing the project. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Bruce, you're here for our next item, approve the final plans for FM-CO42 sub 109-55-42. That's the paving of S75 from 310th Street to County Highway E18. This is a mutual project with Marshall County
Yep, and Grundy
and
County.
Grundy County.
So it'd be, Marshall County will take on 100% of theirs, their 1.5 miles, and then we'll be sharing with Grundy the other, I guess it's 3 miles, 50-50, so. That'll take place next spring or summer,
Good.
the concrete portion,
Yeah.
just up just south of Witten. We're going from Liscum to Witten, so.
Can you give a condition of the road right now? Been talking about it for years.
It's breaking up, but as fast as we can patch it, so, yeah, it needs it. Something similar to what we did on D55 this summer. We cracked the concrete first, went over it with 2 inches of rock and then 4 inches of asphalt. So, seemed to work pretty good.
A year ago and the year before, we put speed limits on it. Right now, there isn't one, correct?
Right. That's 55.
Are we potentially looking at that again?
This depends on how it holds up. Hopefully we
Okay.
can get to it before it really breaks up
I
again.
think the opening of
There's-
Highway 14 alleviated some of
There's not
the
near as
heavy
much traffic.
traffic.
I will say, we do have a speed limit.
Yeah.
It's just not reduced, we do. have a speed limit.
Yeah.
And point that out, didn't you?
That's so much, somebody had that as a valid defense.
All right.
All right, I'd entertain a motion of approving the final plans for said project.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next for consideration is the auditor's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the monthly report for the auditor's office for September of 2021.
I'll second it.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next I have is the consideration of the recorder's monthly report.
I'll make a motion to approve the recorder's monthly report for the month of September.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next, we have a couple changes of status with the Conservation Board. First is consideration of the resignation of Becky Furx effective September 30th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item I have is the hiring of a conservation office assistant at $12 an hour with Hardin County Conservation effective October 11th, 2021. Laura Carr.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next, I have a series of, Dave, I have one, I just need clarification on Jennifer Capel. Was that,
It's a hire.
it is, okay.
Yes, the part-time.
Yep, okay. I have hiring of Jennifer Capel effective 10/25/21, hiring at a rate of $18.90 an hour.
Make a motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion?
It's permanent part-time.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next is the resignation of Alec Jensen, correctional officer, effective October 13th, 2021.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is the hiring of Sandra Hartgers, effective October 18th, 2021, as a correctional officer sergeant at a rate of $23.06 an hour.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion?
That was for a full-time.
Correct. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a consideration of the hiring of a full-time correctional officer sergeant, John Sorensen, at the rate of $23.06 an hour.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a consideration of the promotion of Drake Beatty, effective October 23rd at a rate of $18.90 an hour as a correctional officer.
Make a motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion?
Full-time again. Things last.
Part-time, full-time.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a promotion, part to full-time Ian Showers, effective October 23rd, 2021, at a rate of $18.90 an hour.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a promotion from part to full-time for correctional officer Caleb Graham, effective October 23rd at a rate of $18.90 an hour.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion, and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is a promotion, part to full-time, Paula Shute, effective October 23rd, 2021, at a rate of $18.90 an hour.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next is a promotion from part to full-time effective October 23rd as a correctional officer, Harley Schutt, at a rate of $18.90 an hour.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. The last change of status for the Hardin County Sheriff's Office I have is a promotion part to full-time as a correctional officer, Brittany Grunwald, at a rate of $18.90 an hour.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Other business, Michelle. Nothing today? I
Nothing
wasn't
today.
gonna let one slip by today.
Although if you forgot to pay your taxes, we'll be notifying you on November 1st.
Okay. Jolene,
Election coming up November 2nd.
Angela?
Absentee voting in the courthouse starts today.
Okay, be there, be square. Dave, anything else?
I've got nothing.
Okay, Lance?
I'm good. Thank you.
Nay?
Nothing.
I just wanted to thank our first responders and law enforcement, and once again, how things kind of came together and took care of hopefully a problem in Union yesterday, and shows that that teamwork can work, and I appreciate it. I know the community appreciates it, so. All right, other than that, I can ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.